Okay, in this video we're going to take a brief look at the associative property. Now I pulled up the roots of this word. I searched for the word associate on my web search and I found this. I think this is important because we often try to memorize the associative property without realizing that it's a word, it has a root in a word that we already know. And this is the word associate. Now, the word associate, of course, has many meanings, but here, look at this root of the word, right? Ad means to, and socius, right? Sharing. So here it means to share, or to associate, or joined with a common purpose. And that actually applies to the mathematical definition here as well. Common definition you might see is something like this. Numbers or variables, right? A plus B plus C. Now, if we put parentheses around B plus C, our order of operations tells us to add B plus C first, and then take that and add it to A. Well, the associative property says that is the same thing, right, as adding A plus B first, and then adding that to C. So this is the associative property of addition, right? If we have, let's say, 3 plus 4 plus 1, is that the same as 3 plus 4 parentheses plus 1? Yes, of course. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 1 is also 8. So we can add our terms in any order. And now this connects back to our origin of our word because we're associating terms differently. These parentheses tell us to associate B and C first, right? These parentheses tell us to associate or add A plus B first. But the associative property says that we can join these terms or have them join together in any order we want and still end up with the same result in the end. And the same is true for the associative property of multiplication. Let's say we have A times B times C. Well, we can multiply B times C first and then multiply it by A, or we can multiply A times B and then multiply it by C, or we can, if we have more terms, we can switch this up as well. So here as a number example, if we have 3 times 2 times 4, right, is that the same thing as 3 times 2, and then that product times 4? Well, yes, of course. 3 times 8 is the same thing as 6 times 4. They're both 24. Now again, with any of these properties, this applies to any number of terms. This will work, right? So we have 3 terms, A, B, and C here, but we can use any number of terms, right? And this will still hold. Now, this is actually a very useful property in many ways. There are so many opportunities to show it. What I want to show is one common kind of example that you'll encounter when you're balancing equations with this property. I think is super useful. So let's say you have something like, it looks a little intimidating, x plus 3 minus x, right? So when students encounter something like this is a great opportunity to use the associative property. These parentheses here, right, don't really mean anything because there's nothing being distributed to both the 3 and the x. There's no number here in the front like 2 or 3 or 4 to alter their value. You could think of this as x plus 1 times 3 minus x, right? But one group of 3 minus x is just 3 minus x. So we can use the associative property here to think about how easy it is to simplify this expression. Now we have subtraction here, right? And the associative property only works for addition and multiplication, not so much subtraction or division. But fortunately, we can always think of subtraction as addition. We can think of this as x plus 3 plus negative x, right? Now we're adding our 3 terms. We're adding the x, the 3, and the negative x. So the associative property says that we can regroup these in any way we want, right? Now we're also going to use the commutative property to move the terms around. So here's what I mean. I'm going to take this term and put it here, and this term and put it here. And that gives us x plus, oops, this is right here. That's cool. Sorry, I don't know what that was. X plus negative x plus 3. And now the associative property says, hey, we can group these 2 terms first, and then add it to 3. And that's really nice because these 2 are opposites and add to 0 plus 3, which means that this just equals 3. So the associative property allows us to regroup terms in ways that are advantageous to us. We can cancel things out and get rid of them. It's really a great property, and I think you'll find as you work more with algebra that it's just one of the greatest things to use. Thanks.